You prepare for the unexpected by building yourself up as much as you possibly can. Become as smart as possible. In what area? Yes. Become an educated person. An educated person is a person who knows everything about something. So pick one subject and become extremely knowledgeable in it. So know everything about something and then know something about everything. Who would you be in tragedies? And you can't know for sure, but you can prepare. Are you ever going to have to undergo a tragedy like that? Have to make medical decisions for a family member? Probably. And if you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to think about that. That's true. None of us wants to think about it. But the only thing that we want to do less than that is have to actually make the decisions. And imagine if you have to make those decisions under stress. When you're panicked, when you're emotionally distraught, and all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, on some idle Tuesday, you have to make those kinds of decisions. You don't want to be the person who, when things are going well, you sigh and go, this can't last. Be the person who can appreciate it when something happens. Being able to appreciate things in the moment. That's really the gist of it all. Like, why is it that we come to school? You ask that question, like, why do we have to take English language arts? Why do we have to take sciences? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do that? I guess we don't have to do anything. I mean, I guess we do. I guess we can get away with doing 40% less these days. But we take these classes because when are you ever going to need to know chemistry? I don't know. When are you ever going to need to know calculus or trigonometry? I have no idea. But wouldn't it be great to know it? And then if the opportunity came up, you'd be like, oh, I'm glad I know this. Yeah. The archetypes. Why do we have to learn the archetypes? Again, you don't have to, but why is it useful to? If you just kind of look at it and say, no, it's useless. No, at the very least, even if you don't believe that each person is predestined to follow one of these archetypal paths, you at least can recognize that the reason that we see these characters in literature and movies is because they are reflected in real life. So at the very least, there are people who, even if they're not predestined to be a hero or an innocent or a jester, at least you can recognize that people act out these roles performatively. And then if you realize why people are acting them out, and then you realize what it is that they're after, well, my goodness, you can help to motivate people. If you're the boss, you have employees, or if you are the employee and you've got a boss who fits into one of these. In other words, you can't lose by knowing a bunch. I mean, think about in life how many opportunities people miss because they weren't ready for them. So if you just stay ready for things, for what? I don't know. Like, where are you going to be in 5 years? I have no idea. And if you don't either. You have a hope, or you have, by the way, and your hope is just based off of your mindset today. You might learn something later on today that completely changes where you want to be in 5 years. Who knows? But one thing is true. Opportunity kind of goes through life, and sometimes you're ready for it, and sometimes you miss it because you weren't ready for it. Is there ever going to be a time when you need chemistry? Don't know. By the way, if there was a time to use chemistry and you didn't know chemistry, you wouldn't even realize the opportunity was there. But if you know chemistry and the opportunity shows up, then bing, you're in the right place at the right time with the right qualifications. When will you ever need to know that? I have no idea. But again, we don't know either. In 5 years, where are you going to be? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? None of us knows. So going back to what you're saying, now, how do you prepare for the unexpected? You prepare for the unexpected by building yourself up as much as you possibly can. Become as smart as possible. In what area? Yes. Become an educated person. An educated person is a person who knows everything about something. So pick one subject and become extremely knowledgeable in it. So know everything about something, and then know something about everything. At the very least, in your conversational, you come across somebody and you're talking to them, and you have a way to connect with them. You have no idea what kind of an opportunity can come from that one conversation. Or, worse yet, we don't know what opportunities are lost by not having the ability to converse with people. I was telling last period that I have seen this. Literally, I have seen this in front of me. Somebody over at Starbucks who was working very hard behind the counter, good attitude, multitasking a whole bunch. I have literally seen somebody get their coffee and call that person over and hand them a business card. And I heard them say, I have this company, well, I could really use someone like you. I see you handling this rush really well, great attitude, multitasking. I could really use someone like you. And I saw that person take the card. I have no idea what opportunity came from that. But the difference between getting that opportunity and not getting that opportunity, a lot of times was just their mood. Were they in a good mood or not? Think about that. Like if you, next time you go to Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever, the person who helps you, if you had a company and you were looking to hire somebody, would you hire the person who just helped you? Given their attitude, given how they're working, given all of that. And let's say you go to work and you never get that business card, but at the very least, you had a good mood, you've had a good attitude the whole time, so you've probably had a relatively decent day. Like whether you have a good day or a bad day largely depends on our moods. So what do you have to lose by being in a positive mood? You're at Starbucks anyway. Why not learn where the coffee comes from, how they source it? In other words, learn some things. You're there anyway. You might as well. I mean, if you're not there for the money, probably not. You're in your math class anyway. You're in your English class anyway. You're in your chemistry class anyway. You're in your history class anyway. Why not learn something? And then if you learn something, who knows when you're going to need to use it? And that's the thing. It's a real question. Who knows? None of us. When are you ever going to have to be able to absorb a tragedy in your life? Wouldn't it be great to be able to think about it beforehand?
Yes.
Yeah, because that way you're not having to figure things out on the fly. I remember when my mom had a heart attack and she was in the hospital before she died, my dad just kind of turns to me and says, I need you to make all the decisions because you're the smart one in the family. I don't disagree with him. But the real smart one in the family was my mom, but she was in the coma. Like I said, she couldn't make her own decisions. So I guess second best. Now, if you had to make those decisions today for your parents, what kind of a decision maker would you be? Are you the person who would be actually useful in the situation? Would you be the person, like my sister was, sitting in the corner, actually making things worse? Actually being a liability? Like we hate thinking about it, but if somebody walked through the door today and there was a shooting, who would you be? Would you be the person who cowers in the corner scared? Would you be the person who would actively do something? The truth is, you don't know until you're in that situation. But it's better to think about it beforehand, because if you can think about it beforehand, you can prepare for that. And it's not just like a specific, like a shooting. Think about it in terms of just kind of like tragedy. Let's say there wasn't a shooting. Let's just say it was a lockdown. And there was a shooting going on campus, and you knew it was going on. Are you the person who'd be sitting in the corner crying and sniffling and like trying to disassociate and put your mind someplace else? Because if you are, if I give that instruction, say, let's get off of campus, the gate's right there. Are you the person that I have to throw over my shoulder and carry out? Or actually, better yet, you, because you're the biggest guy in the room. Are you the guy that he's got to throw over his shoulder and carry out? I hope not, bro. Who would you be in tragedies? And you can't know for sure, but you can prepare. Are you ever going to have to undergo a tragedy like that? Have to make medical decisions for a family member? Probably. And if you're thinking like, I don't want to think about that, that's true. None of us wants to think about it, but the only thing that we want to do less than that is have to actually make the decisions. And imagine if you have to make those decisions under stress. When you're panicked, when you're emotionally distraught, and all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, on some idle Tuesday, you have to make those kinds of decisions. Fine, that's one thing. What about if you're going to go to college or not? One thing to think about is, well, I'll leave it at that, but which college would you go to? Do you go to the one that's far away? Do you go to the one that's close? Do you listen to the people around you who say, no, stay local, that way you can save money on rent? Or are you the person who goes ahead and goes far away from everybody you know? And then therefore get to have the experiences of a lifetime that you'll never forget. To experience you have those choices, some of you. Are you going to continue to experience the life that you're experiencing right now? Or do you take the chance to experience life elsewhere? Well, to experience life elsewhere, you have to be strong enough to absorb that. You have to be able to be on your own. You have to be able to be in solitude. You have to be able to make those connections. You have to be able to figure out things for yourself, like how to sort laundry, how to pay a dorm bill, or something like that. I have a friend who has a daughter who's in school now, and she's an indoor kitty. You know what I mean by that? You guys have cats? Yeah, do you have outdoor cats or indoor cats? Yeah. Outdoor cats and indoor cats, different breeds, man. That outdoor cat, if a fly goes through your house, outdoor cat will chase it and jump on it. Your indoor cat will watch it and wait for it to come down in front of it, then it'll try to catch it. Or maybe it'll get a little bit of exercise and chase it, but outdoor kitties are way better at figuring things out than indoor kitties. She has an indoor kitty, her daughter. And so the daughter's having to figure things out for the first time, how to pay rent, how to, work on meals, how to figure out like train schedules and stuff like that to come home. And so fortunately, my friend's given her daughter the intelligence and some of the independence at home where she has the confidence to figure those things out for herself. Now, there's a difference between knowing how to and actually doing it. This is true. But build yourself up in every possible way. Make yourself stronger. Make yourself, resilient. Give yourself the ability to persevere. Challenge yourself almost every day, because you won't know if you can overcome challenges if you've never really had to overcome challenges. It's that fool who says, I'll figure, when I'm in that situation, I'll do it. It's like that idiot who plays a sport and they say, well, I can dog it at practice, but you know what? In the game, I'm there. Fine, but you're not what you could be. You might be the best way you could be in the game as someone who dogs it in practice. But if you're a person who pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes in practice, then you'll still be there for the game, but it'll be a way better version of yourself. And I even hate using that term, like to be a version of yourself, because it isn't about being the best version of yourself. It's about preparing yourself and bringing that prepared version of yourself to every given situation. Prepare yourself to deal with tragedy. And then when tragedy happens, you bring the tragedy dealing with version of yourself to the tragedy. When things are going well, you have to be able to also to appreciate the good times as well. As I said, life is suffering, but it's so much more than that. You don't want to be the person who, when things are going well, you sigh and go, this can't last. Be the person who can appreciate it when something happens. And being able to appreciate things in the moment. Sometimes it's that hard part between waiting for something to happen and we just don't know which way things are going to go. We're uncertain about things. Learn how to enjoy yourself in those moments that are those in-between moments, because that's a lot of life. If you only enjoy the highs and the lows, then you're missing a lot of life that you could be enjoying. And so prepare yourself for what? Yes, everything. The good times, the bad times, the in-between times. That way, when the situation happens, you're able to bring the prepared version to each of those situations. Questions? And by the way, a big part here about truth as well. You can't tell the truth unless you've prepared for the consequences of it. You also can't lie unless you've prepared yourself for the consequences of it. So I mentioned earlier, responsibility. You need to be prepared for the consequences of everything you do, and also everything you don't do. But another time, sixth period for sure. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Tuesday.